All right, so now let's move on. Bernie and AOC did this town hall event for CNN the other night, and there were a couple moments that came out of it that we want to get your reaction to. So let's take a look at the first one.
Hi. On the issue of healthcare, a lot of the clinics and hospitals that are negatively affected the most under the One Big Beautiful Bill are located in rural, mostly Republican areas. A lot of the increases in Affordable Care Act premiums that Democrats are fighting to prevent are concentrated in more rural Republican areas. If the Republicans are so insistent on sticking it to their own voters on this issue, why don't the Democrats just let them?
I mean, I think Alexandria touched on this before, and that is, we are, one of the things, and this really annoys me about Trump, he's dividing this country. Why would I not? When we hit the road, we were in Idaho, right? It's the most conservative state in America, I think. We had many thousands of people coming out. We are Americans. What, you think I would feel okay if somebody in a Republican state died because they couldn't get health care? I would hope not. I would hope nobody feels that way.
And I think it also speaks to a big difference between someone like Trump and someone like me or someone like Bernie, which is that Trump believes that if you don't vote for him, he doesn't have to be your leader. That if you didn't vote for him, that you don't deserve good things to happen to you. I don't care if someone voted for me or not. I don't care if someone is a Republican or an independent or a Democrat. I don't care if someone likes me or not. That will never change the fact that I'm going to fight for them to have health care. I want MAGA to have health care. I want MAGA to be paid a living wage. But he doesn't want people who are Democrats, or he doesn't want people based on their political affiliation to benefit. And that is the difference between a strongman and an authoritarian and a leader of a democracy.
I mean, my line has been a little sharper than that.
Yeah.
I've said, look, I'll be honest, I fucking hate these people. I despise them. I don't want to hang out with them. I don't want to eat dinner with them. I don't want to casually chat with them and fucking see what's going on in their lives. Fuck them. But at the same time, I also want them to live a good life. I also want them to have healthcare. I also want them to have high wages. I want them to feel fulfilled. And I think she's right. That's the difference. Is like when they look at us, they go, I hate you and I want you to suffer.
Yeah. It's funny, when I saw that clip, I was like, sounds like she's been listening to Kyle. Because I've heard you make that point a number of times.
Again, it's a little sharper because I'm not a politician. I can say I fucking hate these people because I do. I hate these people.
Yeah.
But again, I want them to live a decent life. And yeah, it's like, if that's the difference between us. But again, I go back to the thing I said earlier, which is like, we kind of need a national divorce, because if they actively want us to suffer and they're refusing to let me help them, right? Like, if I were, think about Obama did Obamacare. It was a right-wing healthcare plan from the Heritage Foundation, but it still covered tens of millions more people with healthcare.
Yeah.
They said he was a communist and he was a Marxist, and how dare he do that? And you're trying to kill my grandma. And it's like, he used one of your ideas and he objectively helped you, and this is your reaction? So if somebody like Bernie were to come along and give them universal healthcare, free healthcare, I think the process of getting to that point, maybe 30 years after it's in place, then they would like it. But the 30 years to get to the point where they accept it would be like, they would try to kill us for saving their lives. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to know what to do with, like you think about the soybean farmers, where they voted for Trump most overwhelmingly, in 2016, and then he screws them with like his actions that he takes in the trade war.
Triple screws them.
They just vote for him again, 3 times. And then now they're even more screwed than ever. And do you think that will change their political affiliation?
Most of them no.
Most of them no.
Most of them no. They literally had a meeting where they said a prayer together.
It's hard to know what to really do with that. But yeah, I mean, I had a big debate with Sagar about this. I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago, who knows? Anyway, at some point in time, we had a big debate about this, because he was like, don't you think that if Democrats get back in power, they're just going to do the same thing and go after, and use the executive branch to target their enemies and withhold funding from red states? And he's like, maybe they won't send in the National Guard, but don't you think they'll do the same thing? And I was like, no, I don't.
It's kind of crazy that he thinks they will.
I know. I mean, first of all, I don't even think they'll do the things that they should do.
Yeah, jail Stephen Miller and jail Elon Musk.
Those people should be in jail.
Of course.
And we talked about that as well. Whatever. Anyway, but those pieces, not to say that there aren't any people out there like that guy who would be like, yeah, fuck them. Like they voted for Trump. They don't, so they, go along with all this shit. If the Republicans want to hurt them, let them get hurt. Like there is some energy of that, but that is really contrary to any sort of a like truly left principle, And I think it just feels like projection to me. Like the fact that Republicans behave that way. No, it doesn't mean that a Democratic president is going to do the exact same thing. I mean, I was just looking at, so the Trump administration's frozen or cut $27 billion in funding in Democratic districts compared to $739 million. So $27 billion with a B versus $739 million.
In red states.
We've never seen anything like this. In our lifetime, we have never seen anything like this.
It's a war on the blue states. It is a war on the blue states.
It is not just a war on blue states. It is a war on anyone, not just elites, not just politicians that you may or may not like. It is a war on anyone who is opposed to Trump. That's what NSPM 7 is about. That's what the Blue City invasions are about. That's what this funding cuts are about. That's what the project is. They want to make it so there is no opposition. They want to scare people into silence and make it so that, their organizations can't get funding. The IRS is now going to criminally investigate Democratic donors so that, wealthy Democrats are afraid to give money to any left-wing or liberal organizations or candidates. Like that is what they're actually going for. And then the Supreme Court is helping them by rigging the maps so that Republicans will have at least a 5 percentage point advantage in the vote to make it almost impossible for Democrats to be able to win the House. Like that's what's happening.
That is what's happening. But to my point from earlier, okay, you want us gone. We can leave. We can leave. No problem. No fucking problem. The difference is if we actually leave, they would desperately want us back because they're abusive and they want to have somebody to abuse, right? Whereas if the blue states were to separate, we'd live in a fucking paradise within like 7 years. I'm serious. We'd have universal health care. We'd have free college. Everybody would be in a union. Everybody would have paid vacation time. We'd be like fucking Sweden, a multicultural Sweden. Multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural Sweden, And it's like, okay, fine. I'm done fucking fighting you. Again, it feels like we're in an abusive marriage, which I would have no idea what that's like, by the way. But it feels like we're in an abusive marriage where a person is like fucking, they're just like berating us and castigating us and beating us and they're alcoholic and, they just won't let us be.
I was looking at the life expectancy in like the South, like the deep South.
Oh, I saw that tweet, yeah.
Yeah, 20 years lower than like in the Northeast.
Yeah.
20 years. I mean, it's just like, yeah, you can look at their states. And they love to do the point to California. It's like, California is still one of the biggest, like if it was just its own thing.
Fourth biggest economy in the world.
One of the biggest economies in the world. So yeah, I would take California over like Mississippi or Arkansas.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Higher rates of smoking, higher rates of obesity, all sorts of problems. And it's like, okay, you could tell, hey, look, we're separating blue states of America, red states of America. You can pick where you want to go and let's do that, And it'll be like a permanent 65% majority on both sides. And we'll be able to run our little experiment, and we'll check in 70 years and see how everybody's doing, But anyway, I got one more of Bernie and AOC that I want to show you. Take a look.
All right, let's see.
So, Caitlin, when you talk about are we overjoyed that the hostages are back, that prisoners are released, that finally there is peace, hopefully it lasts, yes, absolutely. But I think this is not a time for credit. This is a time to think about American policy. Are we happy that we have given tens of billions of dollars to destroy the Palestinian people? Israel had a right to defend itself. They were attacked by a terrorist group. They did not have a right to go to an all-out war against women and children in Gaza.
And moreover, on this issue as well, is that we may have an announcement around a ceasefire, but Gaza has been flattened. Tens of thousands of people are dead. Universities gone. Hospitals eliminated. With American-made bombs. With our tax dollars. While you and me and our families can't even afford to put food on the table. And so I welcome the cessation of these bombs dropping in Gaza. But I don't, the devastation of everything that we have endured up until this point is not something that I think we should celebrate. The United States played a role in all of this destruction to begin with by enabling Benjamin Netanyahu in dropping all of these bombs, by refusing to enforce our own American laws and the Leahy laws on the books, which says that we cannot be transferring weapons to forces that are engaged in gross human rights violations. And we look the other way because we deem them an ally.
And you're saying that's not something that you're, a criticism that you're just applying to President Trump in terms of support. You're
President Biden
President
did it. President Biden did it, and I have absolutely said that to him in person as well. Bernie and I.
We spent a long time with President Biden trying to make the case.
I've given President Biden hell about this, and President Trump has absolutely been part of this problem as well. In fact, he was bragging publicly about Benjamin Netanyahu ringing him up and asking for all these kinds of bombs that he doesn't even know the United States has, and him signing off on it.
So it's the first time you heard that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know more about what was said to Biden. You know, I want to know more about the details of that. It's also interesting to me that that's only being said now. And, you know, I mean, yeah, I struggle with AOC because she says it's a genocide. She said it actually before Bernie did. Bernie was way too late to actually call it what it is, a genocide. But at the same time that she's saying, like, you cannot by law transfer weapons to a state that is committing war crimes. Like, she was still voting and justifying for the quote unquote defensive weapons, which we all know is a farce. So it's good to hear the moral clarity now.
The Iron Dome gives them impunity. So,
right.
So, like, they can
exactly
be totally fine and have no consequences, and then destroy everything
80 different
and everybody.
countries and feel like they're not going to face any kind
Right.
of consequences. Like, that enables that, no doubt about it. So it's nice to hear the moral clarity now, but it feels late. And at the time when the Biden administration was in office, we really didn't hear those criticisms directly at a time when it would have mattered.
And Bernie needs to stop saying Israel has a right to defend itself.
Because
this is not. It's just not.
I mean, we're so far beyond that.
The thing is, Bernie, they're not defending themselves. At no point was this about defending themselves.
Yeah.
This was about the pre-approved plan that they've always wanted, where they saw an opening where it's like, oh, let's wipe all them out, ethnically cleanse the region, do a genocide, and steal the land.
I mean,
that's what it's about. Like,
AOC,
don't obfuscate that point.
Right. That's exactly right. And AOC went on the DNC stage and said that Kamala Harris working tirelessly for a ceasefire.
Yeah. And that
so
was
that true? Or, I mean, we know that wasn't true, but, like, did you believe that at the time? Or are we to believe that you were behind the scenes giving Joe Biden hell for their failures to protect Palestinian life?
There's a bit of a contradiction there, right? There's a bit of a contradiction.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh yeah, they're working tirelessly for a ceasefire, but I had to yell at them like crazy to try to get them to stop sending the weapons and
I
do a ceasefire.
hate what they did, and it was so wrong. And it's like, well, then why were you up? Like, it's a choice to get up on the DNC stage and say that thing.
Right.
And it was very important that she said it. And I know it can feel like we're holding them to a different standard because objectively,
well, I was about to comment on that.
They're two of the best on the issue of Gaza in the Congress.
Objectively, that's a fact.
Look at their voting record. You know, her voting record versus Marjorie Taylor Greene, who gets a lot of attention. There's no question.
Oh, I'm about to go off on that in a second.
AOC is way better even just on this issue specifically than Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the reason you're put on that stage is because you know that there's a lot of lefties who are upset over this issue, and you're put up there to try to comfort them and try to feed them what is a line of bullshit about working tirelessly for a ceasefire. And so that's why there's a lot of disappointment, because we feel like she should be, like, if you are going to be at the left vanguard, you have to be better than lying to us about Kamala Harris, you know, and what she's doing on Gaza.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't want to be too hard on them because, like you said, objectively they have the best record, and there's people who have way worse records who are getting credit now for saying things, fucking Johnny-come-lately type shit, when their voting record doesn't match it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, now all of a sudden she's, you know, Miss Anti-Israel, but you voted for, like, all the pro-Israel shit until 7 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And so to act like, oh, she's more of an ally than these people is just, it's just dishonest. I was going to say it's insane. It's not insane. It's dishonest. People are lying and they know they're lying when they're making that point, right? But that being said, all of our criticisms of Bernie and AOC are also just correct. And we wish that there was, you know, people who would go a little further and have a little more clarity. I guess you have Ilhan Omar, you have Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not, unfortunately, there wasn't really like a solid block of people saying the right things all along here, and that's unfortunate. Hey guys, sign up on Substack below to get the full interview with Kat Bugazale. You don't want to miss it, and definitely also support her campaign.